Hello, whoever decided to click on this video. Today we are talking about a project that I didn't actually do. My brother Parker did it, so we're gonna get straight into that. Alright, so where did you get the idea for this project?
I have seen so many videos online of people making epoxy tops, and so whenever I had to do a senior project for my woodworking class at school, I thought, why not make an epoxy top? No one's ever done it before in his class, and so it was something new and something that would make my project unique. And so I decided to make an epoxy top, and I went online and looked at a bunch of different epoxy tops to get designs, and I found this one, which was a really cool design and was also relatively easy for a newcomer to the epoxy business.
Yeah.
But it was still quite a lot.
Yes, this is a big project. Okay, so other than that, walk us through the steps. I mean, you filmed some of this, and I know what you filmed. Or you know what you filmed, I don't know what you filmed, so you talk about it, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
So, the first thing I had to do was make a form for this, because it's epoxy, it's basically liquid. And I made it out of white melamine, and I cut all the pieces at school, and pocket holed them, and drilled them together. And then I shipped it home, or not shipped it, but put it in the back of our truck.
We shipped it in the back of the truck, yes.
And then once we got it here, we put it in the middle of our shop and got it leveled out with a bunch of shims. It was kind of a long process because if you move one thing, everything else changes. And
it's got to be perfect because the resin is using gravity to lay flat. So if you have it off to one side, you're going to have like a side that's thicker, or the lower side's going to be thicker than the other side.
Yeah. After we got it all leveled out, I used some silicone caulking to fill all the gaps in the form. And that, I probably did 3 coats, I'd say. The last coat wasn't a full coat. It was just the spots that I thought needed it. And then I let that all dry. Then after that, it was pretty much ready for the epoxy pour. Okay, we're about to mix the stuff up and then pour it in the form. I'm a little nervous, but let's go. I think we're good. It's down in there. There you go. First pour done. 2 more to go.
You did 3 different pours, right? So
yes.
Explain the 3 different pours and why you would do that.
So the first pour was full of color. I put quite a bit of color in it. I probably should have put a little more color, but I like how it turned out, so it doesn't really matter. It was 1/4 inch thick, and that was just like the base layer. That pour was so that the hexagons would be floating in the middle of the top rather than touching the bottom. And then after that was the second pour. It is 1/2 inch thick, the same thickness as the hexagons, and that also has color. I would have liked it to be not as colorful as the bottom layer, but since the bottom layer didn't have too much color, I made it about the same, and that's why it's still so rich in color.
Right. Yeah, if you would have gotten them different, there would be a little bit more like dimensionality to it, I guess.
Yeah.
It'd be a little easier to see the side pieces of the wood, but I think you already have quite a bit of that here, so.
If I were to do anything different on that pour, I probably would have spent more time trying to get the epoxy off the top of the hexagons, because there are some hexagons that are slightly tinted blue because of the epoxy. Alright, so we just did the last pour off camera. It's like 11 p.m. right now. And it's really nice. It's just the same exact thing as the first pour, just without color. And it is very, very glossy. I like how it turned out. The last layer was also a 1/4 inch thick like the bottom layer, and it is completely clear. Just to add thickness and to cover the hexagons without
protect everything.
Without like tinging them blue, even though that already happened.
Right. In a few spots, it's not super noticeable, and where it is, it's kind of cool. I mean, it has something to it. It didn't cause it to be a failure or anything like that.
I'd say the entire process took like I'd say more than 8 hours, maybe 10 hours, somewhere around there. Did the first pour.
For the pours, yeah.
Yeah, did the first pour, let it dry for about 4.5 hours, did the second pour, let that dry for about 4.5 hours, and in between the pours, while I was pouring it, probably took like an hour.
Right.
So.
And overall, I mean, the whole project.
Do the math on that, I'm not going to.
Right. Overall, though, like for the whole project, this has been months in the making. I mean, obviously, I've been working on it for here and there each day, but it's a 2 hour, 2 classes.
2 classes, 2 periods, 55 minutes each, and there's the 5-minute passing period as well, so pretty much 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so I started the design process for the entire thing late last year, probably September, December, somewhere around there. And then we did a bunch of stuff for that because it was required for the class.
And we'll throw those things up if he has them still.
Yeah, I have a picture of the plans we could throw up. Right. And then I started work on it first thing when we came back from winter break. And then I've been working on it ever since. And
it came in here like 5 days ago. So
yeah.
And then there was a lot of sanding process done at the school. And I don't know if did you get some video of that on your phone, or you just...
No.
So that was all just it's sanding. You can watch
sanding.
Many videos of people sanding on tabletops like these.
Yeah.
That's nothing new.
To sand it, I just started at 200 grit, and then went up to 400, then 600, then 800, then finally 1,000.
And then a buffing wheel. Right?
And then I buffed it. I probably put 3 layers at the end of buffing. Some of the scratches are kind of coming back, but it's still really shiny, and it's probably going to stay like that for a long time.
And honestly, you're going to use this desk.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be very quickly just looking like this anyway, so is it worth the effort of going further beyond? I mean, you can, but you can always just deal with that later.
Beyond. Even further beyond!
You can always deal with that later, It's all protected, so you're just going to scratch the resin.
Yeah. I think it turned out really good.
Yeah, I think
it.
It's great. Okay, so a few wrap-up questions. Is there something that you would redo differently? Like, if you were doing this project from the start again, is there a big part of it where you're like, I just wouldn't do this part, or I would do it this way, or whatever?
Well, I already said I would spend more time getting the epoxy off of the hexagons, but I would also take out some of the hexagons on this end, because over here, I'm kind of covering it, but there's...
Stay upright, please.
There's missing hexagons here, over here. That's mainly because I may have made not enough hexagons whenever I was counting them out.
Math is hard. Math is hard.
And so there's some missing, and I tried to make it into a design.
Which I actually really like. Yeah, I think it was a very happy accident.
Yeah, I like it more than if it was just completely solid.
Right.
And so I wish I took some out over here to make it like a cohesive design rather than having solid hexagons here and then some missing hexagons
or
over
at
here.
Least have one other that's further away, spaced further from the other one, so it's fading in or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like the both, one side being solid, one side not, but it's kind of just there over there and not here over here, so I could...
Yeah.
Or the whole thing. I mean, it would look good either way.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay, so you obviously with every project, everyone who's ever done a project knows that there's things that go wrong, and so you've had. Well, I'm sure there are a few things on this project that have gone wrong. Is there some like how did you recover for them? What were they? All that.
So I already mentioned we didn't make enough hexagons, and so that's how we fixed it. We tried to make it into a design, tried to make it look intentional. But one other mistake that we made was over here in this corner. You might see, or you probably can't see from there.
I'll do a close-ups of all this stuff.
This corner right here is slightly lower, and this half hexagon is not level. It is angled up slightly. And that is because whenever I was first putting the hexagons on there, I put the hexagons for that back corner over there, here, instead of over there. And so we had to peel them up off of the half-cured epoxy, and it kind of messed it up a little bit, but it looks fine. The epoxy looks fine.
I think it all filled in.
It's
It's just the levels are a little off.
Yeah, the levels of the hexagons are off, and so I would not have made that mistake. It was a rookie mistake that just, something so simple that just slipped my mind when everything else was just stressing me out while we were doing it.
I'm sure,
making sure.
As someone who does projects, there's 16,000 things in your head about the project, like the details and stuff. You're gonna miss stuff.
Yeah.
Not to call out a problem or anything like that, but we still have this corner over here that it turns out it needs to be supported.
Yeah.
Resin can warp, especially in heat and on its own, and it's just doing it more than is acceptable over here in this back corner.
It's also summer, so that probably added to it. And so I made a leg that just isn't on there yet. It's downstairs in our shop right now.
Just needs to be stained and put together. So
stained, yeah.
It's being fixed, and if you do it before you leave, I'll throw that in the video too. So.
Any other questions?
No, I think that's it. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about with this project?
I mean, the project itself, I'm a woodworker. I'm pretty good at it. I am going to nationals this June, late June, for woodworking in Skills USA. So I'm going to be representing California. And I don't think I made any mistakes on this.
Not on the bottom parts, no, yeah.
The back of the cabinet was cut slightly short, and so I had to make it square by hand instead of letting the back square it.
Right.
Because you usually go with the squarest corner, make sure it's square before you put it on, and then the back will square the entire thing. But I had to square it by myself, by hand, so I didn't cut
which no one would ever notice, but
yeah,
that is
no one's gonna see it.
No, it's on the back wall.
But otherwise, everything's perfect.
Yeah,
it's a really good desk.
Yeah. So this was a senior project in a pathway program at our high school that we go to, I coach at and he goes to, and I used to go to. But it's MCTA, the Construction and Manufacturing Pathway on our.
How do you not know what MCTA stands for? You were in MCTA. It's Manufacturing Construction Technology Academy.
And I forgot. It's been 3 years?
Yeah,
3 years.
3 years, because I was a freshman when you graduated.
I'm old. But.
Right? Yeah. That's the project.
And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer everybody, and I will see you guys in the next video.